Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today I'm going to be talking all about my experience casting the Disney Lorcana World Championship. If you are mostly here to hear me talk about my thoughts on everything that has been revealed so far about Season 2 and my thoughts on that, that's going to be right at the end of the video. There will be timestamps in the description. I totally understand that will be the priority for some people, and that's absolutely fine, but the majority of this video is going to be talking about Worlds more from my personal experience. I've got some footage that I took over the course of my time in Orlando, and I've clipped some bits from the stream to show in the background, and some bits are with sound just to highlight some moments that I really enjoyed from across the weekend. But the majority of the video is going to be just me yapping about the entire experience. So, yeah, it is currently Monday the 7th of July. This is actually the second piece of content I've made since getting home, but it will be the first thing that you guys are seeing. The first thing I did was last night I did an interview with our new world champion, DKP. That's either going to be coming out on Tuesday or Wednesday. The plan is to get this video released by the end of the day, so Monday, and then Tuesday will either be the DKP interview or it will be round 1 gameplay from the Content Creator Set Championship that took place a couple of weeks ago. Whichever video comes out tomorrow, the other one will come out on Wednesday. And later on in the week, I'll also be showing round 2 from the Content Creator Set Championship. That one will be commentated by Artabax and LD, which I'm really excited for. It was my pleasure to have them commentate one of my games, so that'll be coming out later on in the week. The round 1's going to be my commentary and talking through the deck list and giving my overall thoughts about the event, but then all the rounds after that will have guest commentators. So that is the plan for the rest of the week. So yeah, it's Monday. I got back on Thursday UK time, Thursday about 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's been about 5 days-ish. I'm just today feeling the most recovered. I was actually meant to be going to an event on Friday, something that I was invited to, related to Star Wars actually, which I was really honoured to be invited to and was really looking forward to. But I got back from the event on Thursday, and as is tradition when I go away for these long weekends, adrenaline is a hell of a thing, man. It really keeps me going through these like sleepless, high energy weekends. And then as soon as I stop, my body goes, "Oh, we good? All right, just shut everything down." So I always get quite ill after an event. Doesn't normally last too long, but yeah, by Thursday evening of me being just sat on the sofa all day, my body was really feeling it. And by the time I was going to bed Thursday night, it was 1 in the morning, and I was feeling really sick. So I unfortunately had to cancel that event. But spent the weekend basically trying to catch up on sleep and recover. And then yeah, Sunday night I did the interview with DKP, and it's now Monday. I'm still tired, but I'm a lot more with it than I was. But let's go back to the beginning and talk through my entire trip. And it's funny because the last piece of content that I did before leaving was the World Championship Edition group podcast with Artabax, Bennett, Harlan, Sweet, and Sky, which was a lot of fun. But I said in that video, I'm leaving in 24 hours, which ended up not being true. I got my days mixed up. I don't know at what point in the planning that happened, but turns out I had an extra 24 hours, which I was actually grateful for because it gave me time to finish off things that I was really panicking to finish before leaving. But yeah, my flight was on Thursday at about 8 a.m. UK time. However, I had to leave for the airport the night before. I don't have access to a car and didn't have access to anyone that would have been able to drive me there. So I had to rely on public transport, getting the train to Heathrow Airport. And the first trains of Thursday morning would not have got me to Heathrow in time to get through security, to be there early to get through security and check in and etc. etc. So I had to get the last train of Wednesday night, which was at 11:30 in the evening, to go to Heathrow. Got to Heathrow for about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then basically just sat there and waited, which was a slog, but it's not the first time I've had to do it. But yeah, waited it out, got on the plane, and my thought trail right was because it was about an 8-hour flight, and my landing time was 1 p.m. American time, or Orlando time. And my thought trail was, okay, well, I'm going to be staying up all night and then getting on the plane at like 8 in the morning UK time. Then hopefully if I sleep on the plane, like hopefully that kills that 8 hours or a big chunk of it. And then when I land in America, hopefully my body clock is already somewhat set right. This half came true. I did not sleep on the plane. I napped for like an hour. It was awful, you know, right? Because by the time I got on the plane, I've been at the airport all night. I couldn't risk falling asleep. I don't really nap very well. I would have missed the flight. If I'd have taken a nap at Heathrow, I'd have missed the flight. So I just stayed up, lots of coffee, stuff on my tablet that I was watching, and music and whatnot. And then by the time I got on the plane, I was so relieved of like, oh, mate, I can get all comfy, get my headphones on with a podcast or something, and I can just fall asleep. And I did fall asleep rather quickly. And when I woke up, I was like, oh, what a fantastic sleep. I bet that's killed loads of time. It's been like 53 minutes. I was like, no. Anyway, so I didn't sleep much, but thankfully by the time I landed in America, having had slept like an hour, I was relatively awake. I think it was the adrenaline, it was the excitement, it was like it was pumping already. I was locked in. Shout out to JD. So yeah, didn't manage to sleep much, but I was fine by the time I got there. So yeah, landed about 1 p.m. American time, got out of the airport and a taxi or a lift to the hotel, which for the casters and a lot of the Ravensburger staff as well, to be fair, was the All-Star Sports Hotel, which was one of the furthest away from the park, but like the shuttles were like super easy to get to and fro. My first time in Disney World, although it's similar in Disneyland Paris, the hotels that are further away, there's a pretty reliable shuttle service. But yeah, got taken to the hotel, settled in. It was really cool. It was a really nice hotel, to be honest. And yeah, got checked into my room, unpacked a little bit, and I was keen to use as much of the day as possible because we didn't have anything we had to do that day. We were expected the next day for the media day, but other than that, the day was mine. But I just went from the hotel, got in a shuttle bus and went to Disney Springs, which is like a big outdoor shopping complex and restaurants and stuff, but obviously a lot of Disney theming around. And it was really nice to walk around. Like, I took some photos. There's probably videos and photos popping out throughout the entirety of me yapping here. 10 minutes already, so let's try and keep this video under an hour. But yeah, really nice to walk around Disney Springs. I made my one for myself Disney purchase of the week, because I knew that I'd be going to Disneyland on Monday, right? Because all the staff and the players and staff and players had all been told in advance that Monday we were getting a ticket into Magic Kingdom. But I knew ahead of time that I wanted to prioritise experiences, meeting characters, doing rides, doing all that stuff. I didn't want to spend much time shopping. So I was like, right, I'm in Disney Springs now. Let's see if I can find something to buy myself. Because I didn't have tons of like spending money, to be honest. But you got to get something right when you're in Disney World. I found a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, which I ended up wearing on the Monday on the day into Disneyland. So that was cool. I was also looking out for something for my mum, who originally was put down as my +1 to come. When I put her down as my +1, we both knew that like it wasn't definite. It was far from definite. What probably wasn't even likely that we were actually going to be able to afford it, but I tried my best up until the last minute to make the funds work to be able to bring my mum as well. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make it happen, which was sad, but again, that was never expected. That would have always been an extra. Mum had a wonderful time in Disneyland Paris. She was thrilled for me to go. So a bit of a shame, but one of those things, and she'll always have those Disneyland memories to look back on. And who knows, maybe in the future, who knows what's going to happen, but I digress. So yeah, I had a nice time at Disney Springs, and then I went and met Liam and Erin and their little one, who is the most adorable little button. And I met Mo for the first time, and his lovely wife, and their little one, who's also cute as a button. So my first time meeting any of them. Obviously, I've spoken to Liam and Erin a lot. Mo, less so. We've had a couple of online interactions, but got a chance to meet Mo, like absolutely the sweetheart that everyone says that he is. Such a fun, pleasant, wonderful person with such a big heart. Again, sometimes you meet people and just the vibes are right, and you're just like, yeah, you're a good egg, and Mo is absolutely that good egg. So really nice to meet him. Got back to the hotel, settled in for the evening. That was when I crashed. Again, at this point, I haven't slept in like 40 hours, something like that. So crashed hard. Wake up the Friday, and yeah, we were expected to be at the the hotel where the event was going to be for Media Day. So went over there, super excited. Met Brandon and Rebecca first thing in the morning, which was an absolute pleasure. And I'll gush more about the casters as we go on. But let's get through the story. So yeah, we all travelled over together in a lift. Didn't see the main room straight away. We were taken to breakfast, all really nicely laid out. But the most beautiful sight of all, the players, man, because I was so excited to meet so many people again. Some that I've met in the past at previous DLCs, and friends and people that I know very well online, but a lot of people that I was meeting for the first time. So that was super, super exciting. So yeah, went in, only got to say a brief hello to the players, because not long after we arrived, there was a meeting where the players were given a lot of information about what would be happening over the course of the day, and then so were the casters. And yeah, people were basically being pulled off one by one to film bits and bobs. We had no idea what the players were doing, and we didn't see any of it. Like the whole draw a card from memory thing, we saw that for the first time on stream when you saw it. Similarly, the opening video, which was probably the greatest thing I've ever been a part of. That opening video was so good. But my point is, we didn't know what everyone else was doing, except the casters. We got all told together at the same time, hey, we're going to take you off to we've got different areas of the hotel marked off. And it's literally we've got some cards here. You're literally going to strike a few poses and throw the cards in the air. And it's basically that simple. We were like, cool. So we got taken through one by one. I was the last to go through. And yeah, there were 3 or 4 members of the media team. And they had a camera on a stick. And they were like, basically, this is the motion that I'm going to do. I want you to follow it with your eyes or your body language, whatever feels most appropriate to you. And then when we hit a certain cue, I want you to just throw the cards in the air. That was the entire direction. And I was like, all right. I brought a B-prep with me. I was like, I have to try and get this in somehow, surely. And I said that to them. They were like, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you cook. It's mad how much the company have pushed the villain character, by the way. We'll talk more about that later. Anyway, so we do this, and then it gets to the point where they want me to throw the cards in the air, and I just struck the pose and started laughing. And so I didn't even know there was audio picking it up, genuinely. But they laughed and they're like, that was great, perfect. And then it wasn't until we watched the opening video at the exact same time that you watched it, if you were watching live, that was when we saw the entire thing come together and realised how, what they used of us. And when I found out that they included the laugh, and they've used the cut to red on me before on a advert from I think it was from Euros, a clip where I laughed at the camera, and that's been used in a montage, and they've given me the red tint treatment. But yeah, had no idea that was the plan. That was just something they decided to do off the back of it. But mate, I was so proud to be a part of that. But yeah, did all those bits of filming, did some filming for Rebecca for her TikTok. I was one of the most exciting things of the weekend was I hope I get to be part of one of Rebecca's TikTok videos, because she does such a good job with them. And yeah, we did the dancing one, which was a lot of fun to do. So yeah, did those shots for Media Day. Then there was some sitting around, and then the casters got their opportunity to do a bit of a rehearsal. Obviously, for the Americans, they've never been live before. They're always watching pre-recorded games. So there were some things that were new to them, but they picked it up super quickly. Super simple stuff. But yeah, it was still great to get to see the space and everything. And yeah, my first time walking into the hall, bag gold, Mackle. Absolutely, I got so overwhelmed. I held myself together most of the event until a particular moment, which I will bring up when we get there. But yeah, lots of hanging around. We got to do the rehearsal, and then it was the cocktail hour, where the players and all staff were invited. It was literally just scheduled for an hour, a room not too far away. Everybody got given 3 tokens on the way in. One saying beer, one saying cocktail, one saying soft drink. I will be honest, I traded that beer one rather quickly. Which ended up getting posted on Twitter by the Wizard Wonderland, and LD made a pretty funny comment. But yeah, I really regret giving away trading the cocktail one for a cocktail, because it was not nice, and I rather would have kept it. But I did keep the soft drink. But yeah, it was just a chance to get to speak to people that you hadn't necessarily had the chance to do yet. They were taking some photos, and then they did a bit of a presentation, a bit of a speech, and the players got given their participation swag, like the bag and the playmat, the stuff that came just for playing at World. So the playmat, 1 copy of A Whole New World, a bunch of other stuff. So that was really cool. And then yeah, hung out with players and staff for as long as possible. table until it got to the point where we were all like, okay, it's time to go home. Back to the hotel. Basically wound down, tried to get a good night's sleep, but man, it was like the night before Christmas, man. Just absolute like butterflies and just couldn't wait. So yeah, then comes World Championship Saturday. Got up and to the venue pretty early to be able to enjoy the breakfast that was provided. And then basically got straight to work. And what a weekend it was, man. Getting to introduce the show with Rebecca, that was such a humbling moment. That was a really cool experience and super grateful to have shared that with Rebecca. But yeah, to be basically the first thing you see, the first voices you hear is a tremendous honor. So I was super, super happy to get the opportunity to do that. And then yeah, just the chance to work with all the casters that were there over the course of the day. Me and JD had such a fun time.
Mine, I want to get mine too.
While JD's having a moment and a bit of a meltdown, we're going to send it over to Rebecca for an interview. It's all right, JD. Calm down. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Give me your phone.
Calm down. Go to break.
It was so great to meet Brandon and to work with him, like a constant professional, so easy to work with, like, and bounce back and forth with.
Palace Heist, trying to steal the Hexwell crown from Jafar. You know, it's been super fun.
You didn't did you?
I am not going to answer that question while locked in the booth with you here. I'm loyal. I'm loyal to Jafar all day long.
Oh, am I taking it in?
Absolutely.
You are the big dominant person. Welcome back to the booth in the...
Liam, again, is like one of the most passionate people in the community, and he really does have that, you know, still child at heart energy, which I think is, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I absolutely embody that, and I think it's a very good trait to have when you're in these sort of positions, and because you can just see the genuine excitement he has for this game, and he's got such passion and such knowledge, put in so much work.
I'm Lorcana Minion, and we're coming to you from the Disney Lorcana World Championship with a bonus game in round 5. Villain, how did I do?
Pretty well.
So yeah, amazing to work with, to meet and to work with Liam, and again also Rebecca, who is just another embodiment of the Disney energy and positivity, and she's such an incredible voice and face to be on the official staff in these sort of positions. I think Rebecca is wonderful. I think all these people are so wonderful, such wonderful parts of the community, and it was a pleasure to work with each and every single one of them. The event itself, the Sealed, spent so much time prepping for this in particular, prepping for all of it. But yeah, prepping for Sealed in particular to try and know the cards as well as I could. Definitely made some mistakes. And yeah, I have watched back the entire stream, and mistakes were made, and I'll get to that in a moment. But getting to play Pack Rush again as well with Liam, and getting to have some like really fun moments where I like said, I got told to do that, by the way, by the producer, who was like, go when this game finishes. It was looking like Liam was going to win. He was like, we've got more time to fill. When this finishes, go and send the loser away and then take their place. So that was a lot of fun to do, and to get to play against Liam. But that was the first example of me making a really silly mistake over the weekend, which was I quested with an Aurora on the turn that I played her, which was what it is definitely on the top 5 things that I'm most annoyed about for the weekend. Again, it happens. We saw it happen on stream via a World Championship player, but still not something I want to be doing. Was definitely cringe to watch myself having done that. I didn't realise at the time. I didn't realise it until post. So that was silly of me. So that felt bad. But overall, just getting to play Pack Rush with Liam was a lot of fun.
Let's see if Liam can go 2 for 2. He won that one on the draw.
Oh, okay. I see what Baker's doing. He's taking all the Maleficents. The villain has to do it.
Take the Mickeys, Liam. Yes.
Yeah. There he is.
Villain. Let's go.
And then I was challenged later on by Steve Warner. I know that he was keen to have another match with me over the course of Worlds at some point to get his victory back. And I think we would have played Constructed if we had the time, but ended up being a Pack Rush. And we played a game and a half. Game 1 I won, but again, another example of me essentially cheating. It was unintentional. It was a complete mistake. But I misread, I think it's Brutus. And I moved a damage counter from another character, from my Jafar. I had to challenge with the Jafar because it had Reckless and -2 strength, courtesy of Car. So I made that challenge, and then I exerted Brutus and moved a damage counter from Jafar onto Brutus to finish it off, which I shouldn't have been allowed to do. Brutus needs to be from himself. I missed it. Steve missed it in front of me. But still, cringe to have done. Sorry about that. I don't think it changed the outcome. We'll never know, but I took that dub. And then we tried to play a second game, but then we were out of time. So, and look, that second game actually looked like Steve had me. So I remain undefeated against Steve Warner on stream. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, other than the two silly mistakes I made that were kind of cringe. Doing the little interview with Kurt in the booth, that was super impromptu as well. Like, we had the dedicated interview area, right? But Kurt was still backstage, I think, having a chat with someone, getting his bag, something like that. And I was just like, yo, wait there, Kurt. And I just spoke to the producer and was like, can we get Kurt in the booth, like, for after the interview that's currently going on with Mo, and see if, and have a chat with him? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. So that was fun to get to do.
If you're at home and listening, I just want to know, where my dogs at? Where my dogs at? Where my dogs at? Where my dogs at?
Created a really fun moment. Kurt is just like, his aura is just off the chain, man. He's a lot of fun. I was super glad to get to spend some time with him over the weekend. Like, I didn't get to spend as much time as I would have liked with anyone there. Like, some I got to spend more time with others, and when we're watching the intro video I'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, Kurt in particular was like so much fun. He's got such a good energy. I was super happy that the cape was seemingly the most popular character. I want to give a humongous shout out to Kim, Kawa's fiance, who's a wonderful person, wonderful friend, a bit of a cosplay expert herself. And I messaged her maybe 2 weeks before Worlds. I was like, yo, I want a tie that's in the style of Ratigan. He actually wears a cravat, but I was like, just a tie, but the same colour pattern. Could you help me source such a thing? And it took her like 5 minutes, and she had a link for me to the tie that I ended up buying and wearing. By the way, I know the tie was a bit too short. We thought we were going to be sitting until like the last moment. So I'm used to that just kind of bit. Like, I could just have done it long enough all the time, but when I know I'm sitting especially, I tend to be lazier, because if I'm standing and walking around, I just do up my jacket anyway, so I didn't really think about it. Definitely should have been longer. But yeah, thank you to Kim for helping me source that. And then I messaged her again. I was like, yo, I need a cape. I want to go full Ratigan and see if I can get a cape. Which is like, I actually think I've got one that I might be able to repair or make longer, or like, I think it still required a little work on her end, but she provided the link to the tie, which I bought, and then the cape she gave me at the Content Creator Set Championships a week or so before Worlds. So huge shout out to her, and I was super glad to see that it went over well. So yeah, it's a cape meta now. Shout out to the cape. We won't put it out every time if I get the honour of continuing to do more of these, but definitely special occasions if I get to do another Euros or another World, something like that. So yeah, if you appreciate the cape, let me know down below.
My friends, we are about to embark on the most odious, the most evil, the most diabolical scheme of my illustrious career.
Something we will watch together quickly is the recording I got of the players entering the hall for the first time. So this is before sealed. All these boxes on the table here are the various sealed pools. From my understanding, they were told to just get in any order, to queue up outside the door, go ahead and take whichever one they want. So this was a really nice moment, and a huge shout out to the judges as well. So glad to see these faces in the room. Casters had no idea about judges. We found out when you did, when judges, like a few days before the event, started making posts saying that they were allowed to announce that they were part of it. The casters had no idea. So that was as pleasant a surprise to us as it was to the rest of you. So shout out to these judges who did an incredible job all weekend. But yeah, this was a lovely moment. All the players entering the room. And oh man, Kurt with his Jack Skeleton cosplay. He had the pumpkin head. There's probably a photo of it somewhere. If not, I'm sure there will be on the World Class Cards channel or something like that. But yeah, shout out to Kurt for going all out. But yeah, players took their boxes, and then I don't think they had assigned tables for this bit. I may be wrong there. I think it was just sit wherever. Again, opposite one other person, and then they got given the go-ahead to start looking through and building their decks. There were a couple of latecomers. Who were the last two? I know the last person to come through, I think, is the Rats. I think is Brian. I think he was the last person. I'm not sure. Let's see. Hold on. Let me skip forward a little bit. Okay, so my man here with the flashiest hat in the world. Then Domingo. Oh, I need to talk about that in a moment. That was the biggest mistake I made over the weekend. Oh, Liam. He's such a sweetheart, man. Shout out to our judges once again. Okay, so here's the rat. Here's Brian. Was he last? Did I miss one person? Was that the last one? I think it was. Yeah, okay, so the rat finishes us off. I'll let this video play out, but yeah, this was just a really lovely moment, welcoming the players in. Yeah, and again, just such an honor to have been there.
And all of us come together.
Yes, before I go any further, I'm not sure if this was day 1 or day 2, to be honest, but the biggest mistake that I made over the weekend, I think it was day 1, because I apologise on day 2. This is the one that I'm the most embarrassed about. I was introducing a round and talking about a couple of players. I think it might have been during the round where they were leaving the votes open to the Twitch chat to choose which game. I may have got the placement wrong, but the information that matters is that I was introducing Illy, and I introduced him as Domingo. I basically confused. I don't know because I'd spoken to both these guys, like, if not that day, the day before at media, like maybe not for a long period, but I definitely remember speaking to both of them at different points. And I don't know what happened in my head that I just confused the resumes of Illy and the European champion Domingo, and I was talking about Illy but associating Domingo's accolades instead of Illy's, which when I realised after, like, you heard me later on, and like maybe another 2 minutes after I did that, correct myself and apologise. That was super embarrassing. I felt awful about that, and I tried to find Illy that day and I couldn't. Not a suitable time, but I remember that it was the next morning. He was outside, and I went and found him, and I apologised profusely, and he was super great about it. Illy's another great guy. I actually saw him in the airport on my journey back very briefly, which was he came over to say, you know, goodbye one last time. But yeah, I hated that I did that, so super sorry that happened in particular. Getting to meet Ryan Miller was also huge. Obviously, it's always great to see Steve. We've met a couple of times now, and we get on pretty well. I think we've got a pretty good relationship. I'd never met Ryan before, and Ryan was actually the first face that I ever saw associated to this game after I discovered Lorcana. I remember the moment when I first saw an advert for Lorcana. Again, it was only a month before the game came out, so I was super late to the party in some retrospects. But I also didn't have to wait as long between discovery and getting it into my hands, right? But yeah, saw this advert and I was like, oh, this looks super interesting. So I went down the rabbit hole, researching it, finding content, and one of the first videos I found on YouTube, I can't remember who it was. It wasn't the gamer, although I do remember watching the gamer, the one that Eric did with Ryan. I do remember seeing that quite early, but it was another YouTube channel. I can't remember. If I can find a clip, I'll put it up now. But irrespective, it was Ryan talking as a guest on a channel, a rather big channel, and they did a little demo of the game and talking about the game, and it was the first face that I saw associated with it. So that was a very full circle moment to finally meet him, and got to have a photo with both him and Steve, which again, just such an incredible moment for me in my career. Also got to meet Y Breezy, who was in those vents, desperately trying to sneak his way as close as he could to the World Championship, and who can blame him? But I was so pleased when I saw him running down the corridor. He was like, Baker or Villain, one or the other, and I was like, oh my guy. So that was really nice to get to meet Breezy as well, and we got this picture. So that was a lovely, lovely surprise. And then yeah, finished out day 1. And a really nice surprise, all the casters went to Disney Springs to, we were like, let's go out and get something to eat. Let's go to a restaurant and celebrate the end of the first day.
Give us the strut, JD. Give us the strut.
And actually managed to meet some more people. A lot of the Maelstrom team. Obviously, I'd already got to meet a couple of them who were playing Worlds, such as the wonderful Wizard Wonderland and Sailor. It was so great to meet them. But also got to meet R&B, Zenulus, Humble, Colour is Law, Lorcana Librarian, and more. A bunch of people that all came and joined us for dinner. So that was an absolute delight to get to meet even more people. Because again, like I've said this before, obviously such an honour to get to go to Worlds and a amazing to get to meet the people that I did. But, you know, I was, of course, upset that it wasn't going to be a huge, large event, and I would get to meet so many more people that are just so imbued with the Lorcana community as a whole. So to get to meet some other people on top that I wasn't necessarily expecting was an absolute treat. So yeah, we had a really nice dinner and then went back to the hotel. JD was in a different hotel with his family, but me, Liam, Rebecca and Brandon got back, and yeah, we just sort of sat poolside at a milkshake and just sort of like took in the day, and it was a really lovely moment between the four of us, and yeah, just such an honor. Again, get as much sleep as possible with the excitement still brewing, and then Championship Sunday. Another amazing day of Lorcana. Got to cast some just amazing games. Mo versus Bivens is definitely up there as one of my favourite games that I have ever casted. Great to do that with JD. Me and JD doing a bunch of Eminem quotes was also very off the cuff. I'm not sure how close we got to pushing it, but no one said anything to me since. I don't know. I'm sure if someone had said something to JD that he would have told me, so.
My palms are sweaty. On my sweater, I have a little bit of my mother's spaghetti there, Baker.
He's nervous.
And my knees are weak.
Palms are sweaty.
Yeah. And my arms
but
are
on the surface, you do look calm and ready, to be fair, to give you credit.
My arms are quite heavy, though, as a matter of fact, if I don't say so myself. Okay.
You keep forgetting what you wrote down. We're going to stop. We're gonna lock back in.
What are we doing?
What are we doing, JD?
I'm scared, man. I'm scared. What is it hard?
We were just having fun, and I hope that came across as well to the audience. But yeah, it was an amazing day. The moment between I actually think this was day one, but the moment between Kurt and Mo, the hug, was beautiful. And then the same moment between Mo and Bivens. And again, like, Bivens has been one of my best friends in the community since it's begun. We talk quite a bit. He's been supportive of me since well before I ever became an official caster. And like back when his resume was still growing in Lorcana, we've had a good relationship ever since then. I know how hard he works, and it was great to get to spend some time with him. And I know he was there with his family, his wife and daughter, who I did get to meet at the end of Championship Sunday after the award ceremony, which was an absolute honour. But Mo was also there with his wife and daughter, just having a wonderful time. And I remember after Mo's game against Kurt, when he earned his way into top cut, I was outside and I saw at a distance just him with his daughter just sort of walking up and down, and that was a private moment for them, and I'm not even going to speculate, but it was just really lovely to see after such a big achievement. You know, Mo spending some time just one-on-one with his little one, and I know Bivens was doing the same in between rounds. He was on dad duty, so this matchup between these two was just really beautiful. I know a lot of people were heartbroken to see them in the same bracket so early, and that means one's got to go, but it was a fantastic match, such a great story behind it. We had a lot of fun, so yeah, I have to shout out that one in particular. And then, of course, seeing my casting weekend out with Liam was an absolute honour. Again, I can't say enough great things about Liam. And then leading us into the award ceremony, which, again, similar to what I said about the intro to day one, an honour to get to be a part of this. Ravensburger, like a little peek behind the curtain, Ravensburger were like super trusted us to kind of work out how we wanted this weekend to work in terms of who was doing what. There was a meeting, like a virtual meeting, like a week or two before Worlds. We'd been asked to think about it well before then, but there was a meeting where like we were expected to have like come in our own time, come up with some ideas of how we like suggestions and how our opinion on things. So we basically more or less chose what we were doing ourselves. You know, like Rebecca was obviously a fantastic host and great at doing interviews. It was important for her to get to cast a game or two, like in the booth, which she ended up doing. I actually gave her one of the games that I was meant to be casting on the Sunday, just because she came to me in the morning. She was like, I'd like to do another, and I was like, then absolutely, I would love to see you do another. So it was great to see Rebecca doing that, but she's obviously such a good host and interviewer as well, that she was a shoe-in to be doing the intro and the award ceremony. But I said, like, I made my voice heard, and I was like, hey, yeah, I do want to be primarily casting, but I would love to be part of those sort of like host sort of stuff, especially the intro and the award ceremony, if nothing else. And they were very kind to allow me to do that. And again, they left me and Rebecca to basically, like, they gave us the choreography of where they wanted people at certain times, but we decided in advance what we were going to say. Again, when you're casting a game, that's obviously all ad-lib. You might have bullet points that they might want you to hit, like, oh, during this game, could you mention this, or can you mention this? But 99% of it is obviously ad-lib. Interviews are ad-lib, but obviously if you're running an interview, you've been watching the game and you've been making notes about significant things that you might want to bring up in that interview. And similarly, in the intro and outro, they want you to hit certain bullet points, but it was up to us how we said it. They let us be creative with it as much as we could. So that was so fun to get to do that and to get to announce all the players on stage. Literally the highlight of my career, man, but like the pinnacle, other than the intro video, which I think is the greatest thing I've ever been a part of, but literally my career highlight now is getting to sign off the World Championship. Like, what an honor, and with the trademark, the Be Prepared. I'll make the point of saying now, if you think I overdid the Be Prepared over the weekend, you're correct, and I know I did, but I think about it from the perspective more of the people that are tuning in and out. Like, not everybody's watching the entirety of the stream. People are checking in and out as and when, right? And one thing that I have learned over the past year is that people want to hear people do the thing. Whatever that thing is, they want you to do the thing. That's the thing. People want to hear you do the thing. So I do the thing, and I definitely overdid it, and I definitely, like, again, it was Worlds, I was soaking it up, but I knew it was a lot, and if you watch the entire thing, it probably got a bit over the top, and I absolutely see you, I agree, but again, people tuning in and out, you want to make the most of it, so yeah, we swung with it, and I had an incredible, amazing time, and then you're getting to sign off with the Be Prepared, and having everyone behind me on stage, like, laughing when they knew what I was getting at, because I did ask permission to do that, but only from one person, the only one that, like, I asked one person whose opinion on it mattered more than anyone else, like, hey, I'd like to sign off with this. And obviously I told Rebecca, she knew the plan. But other than that, just did it. The players weren't told, oh, and at the end, Baker's going to do this and you're all going to sing along. I was just like, let me cook. I'll get him to do it. So that was an absolute honour. I've actually kept the card that I used to write the names of all the players to call them off. I've actually got some of the... I actually took some extras of these, to be fair, which are blank over there, which is a nice little parting gift, like nice little souvenir. Liam got the deck list, so well, I think we all got, like, something. And I will also say, just get this out of the way, the casters were very lucky to get a goodie bag of a few things. We got the stainless steel bottle that you've probably seen other players showing off. Which I don't have in this room, but you've probably seen it. But we did also get the whole new World notebook, the sleeve. I was super shocked to get the sleeves. I half expected the pin because I thought they were going to want us to wear them on the stream. So, like, I was half expecting the pin, even though I didn't even know if they actually existed until the players got theirs. But the pin was the only thing I was, like, expecting because, again, it's good for the casters to wear them. But yeah, obviously super glad to get it. But yeah, the sleeves, I was gobsmacked that we got those. And the bucket hats, I think mine's in the other room. I love that Brandon is the reason they exist. But yeah, so, like, an absolute honour to get those things. So lucky and privileged to have done so. And all I can say is, like, I hope overall people feel like I made the most of the position. If you are a supporter of mine and you like my style of commentary, hopefully you were satisfied, you felt like I gave it everything. If you're not necessarily a fan of mine, hopefully at the very, like, my style, because I know it's not for everyone, hopefully you at least feel like I gave it my all, like I valued the experience and did not take it for granted for a single moment. But yeah, a few mistakes, the couple that I've highlighted, the worst of which, confusing Illy and Domingo, like, that was my worst crime. I think the second worst crime was questing with Aurora on the turn I played her, which is, like, whatever, but it's still a bit, like, it's a bit cringe. I think Brutus' mistake against Steve was the third biggest mistake, because, like, you know, confusing the text on a card that's just come out is maybe a bit acceptable, but questing with a character you just played has never been acceptable, so that was definitely worse. And then, again, I've watched back all the games. There are things here and there. There are a couple of times I've got a sub-name for a character wrong, or I've added up incorrectly in my head, so I've suggested a line, which would be stupid to do. Just a couple of things that, like, I listen back and I go, oh, that was stupid, what are you doing? Largely, I'm very happy with it. I think it went well. From watching the chat, people seem to have, like, been enjoying it. which is great to see. I've had a lot of like really supportive messages, and like some from people that are always sending messages of support, which is like I'm so grateful for. But even people that I barely hear from or never hear from, just like offering encouragement. And I just want to say, like, it really does mean such an incredible amount. When I was on my way home, I recorded a little video at the airport just to upload on Twitter, just to sort of say thank you to everybody, like nutshell thank you to everybody, but to also say like, look, I'm not as fearless as I might come across sometimes on stage when the cameras are on or I'm on the stage, like, yeah, 100%, but like everything surrounding that is touch or go. So the support, like, and hearing people positively respond to the things that I've been doing, like, is so helpful, and it allows me to keep that energy throughout the entire weekend. So I want to say just such a huge thank you. Push on, because we've been here 50 minutes-ish, and I still want to talk about my reaction to Season 2 information. But yeah, the Monday got to go into Disney World, which was such an amazing experience. I had the honor of being led around by Rebecca, who has never been to Disney World, but she's been to Disneyland tons, and she was very researched, and she had a plan for us. We did something called rope drop. We were through security early, and we like got into our first queue of the day before the queues, before they even started the rides. We started off with Seven Dwarfs Mine, which was a lot of fun, and then we went straight to Tron, which was amazing. And I think for Seven Dwarfs Mine, we waited at least 40 minutes because we got there 40 minutes before the queue they even started letting people in. And then by the time they opened up, we were there for maybe 15 minutes before I was actually on the ride, which from what I understand is pretty good wait time for that particular ride. And it was really good, really well themed. When I did Tron, we queued for maybe 45 minutes for that, which again, I've been assured was really good, because the rest of the day we were seeing other people around the park. They were like, yeah, 2 hours we waited for Tron. I was like, oh, blimey. So yeah, it was good. Like, Rebecca knew what we needed to do to get the big stuff out of the way, and we did most of the big stuff very early on. But yeah, just walking onto the park and like walking down the main street and seeing the castle for the first time. Obviously, we've got one in Paris, but this is Disney World, so that was beautiful to do, and got to do some rides early, hooked up with some of the other judges. I think that was as we were queuing for Tron, going in or out of it. And overall, just had the most magical day. Spent most of the day with the casters. Obviously, me and Rebecca started out together, just me and her. And then we, before too long, met up with Brandon and JD and his wife and Liam and Erin. And at different points of the day, we ran into different people. Ran into Zan Zayed and Jeremy. Got to meet Jeremy for the first time at the cocktail party on the Friday, which was an absolute pleasure. Really nice guy. And yeah, I only had one day in the park. I was flying home the next day, but with Rebecca got so much done. And then when the other casters joined us, we did like It's a Small World. We did the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And then there was a point in the day where I got a message from Mr. Frank Carston, who wanted me to do the Whole New World flying carpet ride with him and have a bit of a sing-song. So I did exactly that. And this is that moment.
Oh, Frank. All right. I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you rest? Just let your heart decide. I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder, over, sideways and under, on a magic carpet ride. A whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. No one to tell us no, or where to go, or say we're only dreaming.
So that was a lot of fun to do. Just had an amazing day. Ran into Kurt later on in the day. He played some Pack Rush against JD and Frank Carston while we were having a sit down. And it was just magical, man. Got to do some. I didn't get to meet as many characters as I would have liked. But got to do so many of the experiences and the rides. Got to do the Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor show, which was a lot of fun. And then we settled down the end of the day by going to a restaurant, like all the casters and like Erin and JD's wife, all of us together. And this particular restaurant just happened to have the cast of Winnie the Pooh who were like roaming the restaurant. So I got to have one-on-one time and photos and meet Winnie, Tigger, who I was the most excited to meet, Eeyore and Piglet. These are like my mum's favourite Disney character or villain is Yzma, but her series is Winnie the Pooh. That's like the really sentimental one to her. So it was great to meet these guys and get to take some photos to send back to my mum, and I was super happy with that. So overall, it was the most beautiful day, and then we had the fireworks in the evening. Again, the Rebecca and Erin really were the experts here, managed to get us a really good spot for the fireworks, and we watched them, and yeah, I broke. That was actually the second time I broke. The first time I broke was at the end of day 2, and Rochelle started crying. We all had a photo together, the casters, and she started crying and talking about how proud she was of how far we'd come, and that got me. And I started talking about like how I was grateful that I got to take my mum to Disneyland Paris as a result of Lorcana, and it was a whole thing. We all had a moment, and then we did the other video that Rebecca did, the TikTok thing with the cup, which we then finished off filming while we were in Disneyland the next day. That was a lot of fun to be a part of. But yeah, watching the fireworks in the evening was like so incredible. It was beautiful, and again, really symbolic, and we shared that moment together, and like there were 2 moments that were really hit home for me, which was there was the Lion King section of the fireworks, and like they put Mufasa's face up on the castle, and obviously there's loads of audio and music, and it does the you are more than what you have become, and I was like, that's me 2 years ago, like 2 years ago before Lorcana, just thinking, wow, like I really feel like I should have done more with my life than what I've done at this point. So that's a whole other thing. But then the Hercules section where they were playing I Can Go the Distance, and then there's that line in Hercules that they played over it, which was Hercules saying, I've finally found where I belong. And it's cheesy as hell, but it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I absolutely broke. But yeah, incredible experience. And then came, I think we shared an evening together. No, it was pretty late. I think everyone just went home, said goodbye, and I packed, and etc. And then yeah, I got to the air. I had some lunch with Rebecca, and we had a game because I hadn't played a Lorcana game all weekend other than Pack Rush. So I had a game with Rebecca, and then we both got taken to the airport, although we got dropped to different terminals. Waited around, got the flight home, and then it was like an overnight flight, and again I barely slept, maybe an hour, and then it was like 7 a.m. UK time when I got back, and then got home at like 9 a.m. and then yeah, I've basically explained what I've done since then. So that was the entire weekend. It's currently saying 58 minutes on my Streamlabs. Hopefully I can cut a few minutes so I can now talk about my reaction to what was announced for Season 2. Alright, let's start off with rules and tournament structure. First of all, best of 3. It's good news. I am actually a 2-game format fan, and I wouldn't have been mad if it would have stayed, but I know the opinion of a great majority, including most of like the most experienced players in the game, prefer best of 3, and I've got nothing against best of 3. I just didn't hate 2-game format, but best of 3 overall, thinking less about me and just about the community and what I've seen and reactions, then absolutely a net positive. 12 rounds overall, another absolute. Again, I think if you were going to do 12 rounds, you could have kept 2-game format, but whatever. Either way, extra rounds, fantastic. It's, I think, 8 rounds of Swiss on day 1. And another 4 rounds of Swiss on day 2. And again, a lot of players, a regular bit of feedback that I've heard is just let us play more rounds, best of 3 or 2-game format. So I think that's fantastic. And then a cut to top 32 makes all the sense. If you're spending some of your day 2 doing 4 more rounds of Swiss, then cutting to top 64 is probably pushing it time-wise, is definitely, I would say, probably a factor. But yeah, I think top 32 after 12 rounds is perfectly fine. Grand finals being best of 5, absolutely a net positive. Love to see all of that. Also, a look at prizing. Day 1 prizing for participation. You get Pegasus gift to Hercules. This is my favourite of the promos that they've announced for Season 2. So the fact that it's participation is very cool. If you feel like me and this is your favourite, then just for participating, you're going to get this. It is my favourite of them all. 5 round wins over the 2 days. And again, it is 12 rounds. So reason for players to keep playing even if you have a suboptimal start, get there in the end, is the new Dual Ink Mulan, who I actually really like. I think this is a decent looking card. Again, Pegasus is my favourite, but I do like the Mulan. Top 64, even though we are cutting to top 32 for top cut, but if you finish in top 64, then you get this Simba Pride Protector. This is very beautiful. I can absolutely appreciate this art. This is one that's not necessarily for me. You guys know the characters and the sort of styles that like I get particularly excited about, but I still think it's a beautiful card, and for a lot of people this is going to be the character that resonates with them. This is going to be an art style that speaks to them specifically, so I can appreciate it's beautiful. It's not one that does a whole lot for me, but I love the Pegasus and I love the Mulan. Then for day 2, top 32, you get Elsa Ice Maker Challenge Foil promo. This is absolutely stunning. I'm a big fan of this Elsa. Pegasus slightly outweighs for me, but this is beautiful. I'd be very happy to get this. Top 16, the Elsa playmat, I think is absolutely gorgeous. Top 8, getting Mickey's Brave Little Tailors. No huge surprise. They printed 500. They're going to get through all of them before they change the main promo for a challenge season. So no huge surprise. Very positive, very happy to see foil uncommon uncut sheets for top 4. That's super cool. I know a lot of the community are very excited at the prospect of uncut sheets. I've been asking for it, so this is our path to get them. And my understanding is they're going to be non-foil versions of uncut sheets that are attainable from the prize wall for doing, like, again, the points that you get over the event, side events, things like that. So that's really cool. Top 2 get full foil set, including Enchanted and Epics. Again, a prize that that's been associated with DLCs for a while. It used to be just first place, other than World Championships. Obviously, it was top 4, but nice to see that's going to go to the top 2 for a DLC. I think that's a positive change. And first place, foil rare uncut sheet, and of course the trophy. And this makes sense to me that it's uncommon sheet for top 4, rare for the winner. European and North American Championships I expect will be a super rare uncut sheet, and then I expect in the future World Championships will be legendary uncut sheets, likely foils. Enchanteds I'm not sure we will ever get, maybe after a particular landmark, or maybe those are, you know, like staff only, something like that. I have no idea, but that's, I imagine, how prizing is going to look going forward. We can look a little further at the prize wall. The Simba and Mulan will both be available on playmats, and also non-foil versions of the Season 1 promo cards, the Dragonfire and Let It Goes. I think, again, that'll be something that becomes a pattern, is when we go into like Season 3, you'll be able to get a non-foil version of this Art Pegasus. And this is going to be for 4 players that join the game from now and beyond, that now they have an opportunity to still get these promos. They're non-foil versions, but still good to get. There's going to be a new hat, which looks similar to the old one, but with some like slightly different patternry going on, but looks good. And then the Elsa pin is obviously stunning, so love to see all that. And then the announcement of the DLCs. I will start off by saying I am so happy that there is a dedicated Infinity DLC. I was afraid that it was just going to be a side event thing. So I am so glad to hear that we are going to have DLC/DLCs, question mark, that will be entirely Infinity. This gives a lot more people a reason to want to play this. So I think that is fantastic. I am very glad to hear it. But then the announcement of those Disney Lorcana challenges. Last year we had 6 in North America and 4 in Europe. And for the Season 2 in North America, we are getting Milwaukee, Wisconsin, October 24th to 26th this year. Then Richmond, Virginia, I believe, January 9th to the 11th. Indianapolis, June 19th to June 21st. And then the North American Championship will be in September 2026. Location to be determined. I would guess it's going to be Disneyland in California. But again, that is just a guess. We have no confirmation for that. And then in Europe, October 3rd to the 5th, which will be the first DLC of Season 2. That's going to be in Bologna, Italy, which is great. Bologna was beautiful. March 6th to 8th in Ghent, Belgium. Another beautiful... Well, again, I haven't been to Belgium, but I always hear fantastic things about Belgium. When I was in Bochum, a lot of people were like, oh, Belgium's beautiful. If you ever get the chance to go, then you should go. So I certainly hope I'll get the opportunity to visit Belgium. And then Dortmund in Germany, June 5th to 7th, with the European Championship also being in September, to be determined location, which again I'm guessing is going to be Disneyland Paris. It was also announced there are going to be 2 DLCs over in Australia, one in November of this year in Auckland, and then in February 21st and 22nd over in Melbourne. China are going to be getting 3 DLCs. The dates have been announced roughly. They're going to be in September, January, and between April and May. And Japan are going to be getting a DLC in Tokyo in January, and then another one to be announced in summer of 2026. And worth mentioning that both China and Japan also have their Grand Prix circuit to earn qualifications to the World Championship. And I am super glad that the our World Championship next year is going to include everyone. My understanding is everyone will be caught up by then. And China and Japan will be involved in our next World Championship season. At least my understanding is that is the plan. But yeah, I'm very, very glad to see Japan and China getting events, and I'm looking forward to sharing Lorcana with them all in the same space, hopefully one day. Great to see Australia getting more. There are also events happening in Brazil, which I do have the slide for. There's going to be, they haven't been announced where exactly or when exactly, but they're both happening in 2026. But yeah, also great to have Brazil joining the game and seeing them get support. I am super, super glad and very, very happy about all of these things. Yes, I am disappointed to see less events happening in America and in Europe. 100%. America, like unbiasedly, America especially, only getting 3, considering how much bigger they are. And again, a lot of them, from my understanding, being kind of bunched up in one area of America. I think that's an awful shame that there's less overall. And for Europe, like, again, we always get less than America. And again, like, unbiasedly, I think that's reasonable. We are a lot smaller. But just see us only get 3. Of course, I'm also very heartbroken to see the UK not get one. My understanding, even well before Lorcana, is that like the UK is one of the most expensive places to hire a satisfactory venue for something like this. Again, that's no idea if that's a factor. I don't know what the factors are. I don't know the reasonings behind any of this other than what they have already said themselves. And Greg and Rochelle made some comments on the recent Lorecast. But yeah, I have no idea why these decisions have been made. Yeah, super sucks to not have one in the UK. And like, even as far as like a UK one is one that I can more safely invite some of my casual Lorcana friends, like the one that was in Birmingham last year. Fidget and another friend Roxy, they were able to come and enjoy playing some side events and enjoy the experience. And I've got other friends in the UK like Lewis and Tommy Lou who enjoy Lorcana very casually. And yeah, if there was an event in the UK this season, they'd probably come along and they'd enjoy some side events, and that would be nice. And again, it's just nice to be on your home turf, but not everyone gets that. But like, even from the perspective of a player, because again, I'll say this, I have no idea if I'm casting next season. Like, I'm not for sure. I can announce the one event that's taking place, the third-party event in Cardiff, which I'm going to be casting along with Spessy and Kim. It's going to be great to get back into the booth with Spessy, and I'm so elated for Kim getting her debut to cast. So that's great. One of the best things they said in the Lorecast the other day was that they are looking at the possibility of supporting third-party events. I mean, there's already been some announcements about support that they're giving prize-wise to third-party events, like providing playmats and stuff like that. But Greg and Rochelle on the Lorecast alluded to the fact that they might work with them further to be able to perhaps get unique promos and even invitations to nationals. I think that is the best news that I could have possibly heard after, like, some admittedly disappointing news of just how few events there are. And again, I'll say this, Ravensburger know this, it's just because we want to play the game more, man. And like, again, I want to cast more events, but I don't know if I'm on the casting team next year. I hope so, very much so, but I don't know. If I'm not, or even say I get rotated, like, and I'm not doing as many, the UK would have been my event to play if I was not casting any events, or at least not casting that one, because I'm not going to be able to go to any of these places off my own buck. I'm not in that financial position yet to be able to go and play. So again, hopefully I get to go anywhere as a caster, but that's not set in stone. But yeah, like, speaking from the perspective of a player, if I wasn't casting, then yeah, the fact that there's not one in the UK would like really affect me. And I know a lot of other people feel the same, and like families are going to struggle. So yeah, I don't really have a lot to add to the conversation besides what's been said. I will say what I've always said, which is, again, like, I see some silly comments that are like, oh, does Ravensburger literally just want to want to spite us, or this is malicious, or they just want to give a big metaphorical banana finger to the audience. And of course they don't. Of course they don't. Like, again, I'm not saying I know the reasonings, because I don't. There's always a lot of moving pieces, right, when it comes to Ravensburger and working with Disney, and I don't know the intricate ins and outs that go into planning events and booking venues and what stuff is happening behind the scenes. I genuinely don't know. I continue to choose to trust Ravensburger, because while there's room for criticism about things that have happened, overall I think they've done an incredible job. And again, maybe I see that through rose-tinted glasses because of the unique experience that I've been able to have. And I absolutely, if that's your opinion, I see you. Like, I grant you that completely. I can understand you thinking that that's a contributing factor, and I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm not, like, again, I've criticised in the past, and I've got something to say, I've said it, I've never been discouraged from doing that, and largely I think Ravensburger have done an incredible job with the Disney Lorcana trading card game. We've had so much more than we were ever going to get in our first year, and yeah, it is hard to give this amazing first season and then say, and now we're going to be doing less events. Yeah, it sucks. You're perfectly valid to say that sucks. I'm very disappointed in that as well. But, I don't think it's on purpose, I imagine. If they could have done more, they would. What are the reasonings? I have no idea. But overall, I am very positive about Lorcana. I'm so excited for the future. It continues to be the love of my life. I continue to be excited about the future, whispers in the wind. And I'm so excited for this next challenge season. I'm so excited for all these third-party events that are hopefully going to get more support from Ravensburger. And maybe we get to see some of these third-party events on the official Twitch stream. Would I like more events? Absolutely I would. Other than that, am I happy with Lorcana? Yes, I am. But that's my Worlds experience. I'm up to about an hour and 20 minutes, so maybe we went slightly over the hour. Maybe I'm able to get it slightly under, who knows. But I want to say one more time, thank you so much to everybody that has supported me, supported the channel. Without you guys, I would not be in the position that I'm in and wouldn't have accomplished what I have accomplished. It was such an incredible time. It was weird being the only one for the Europe to be there, not having the rest of the casters there. Like, that never stopped being weird, but I did my best to enjoy the moment, enjoy the weekend, soak it up, spend time with people, and overall, it was the greatest weekend of my life. And I say that pretty much every big Lorcana event, but it's true. Like, this is absolutely where I feel like I'm meant to be. But as much as I could keep on rambling, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask me down below. There will be a members-only video where I'll show some unique footage and bits and bobs, but I wanted to make this public and share with the community. But that's going to be it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit that like button to show your support, and we'll see you soon.